What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. Alright, so I'm going to put a link to this article in the pinned comment in the comments section below. So, former NBA coach George Karl said something on Twitter that really has a lot of people ticked off. And that is that George Karl believes that Nikola Jokic is the most skilled offensive player of all time, surpassing Larry Bird. And first of all, what makes Larry Bird the most skilled offensive player of all time? Now, he's definitely up there. You can make the case. Like I've said before about Bird, he could shoot from outside very well, 38% for his career, 37.6% to be precise. And he did that in an era where teams are shooting between 2 to 6 3-pointers a game, maybe 7. League-wide percentage for threes, probably the beginning was around 24%, 26%, and then when he retired, it might have been around 33%. He shot 38%, which was well above league average. He was a great mid-range shooter. He could score in the post. He could score with his back to the basket. He could score with either hand. He was a great free throw shooter at 89% for his career. So he was a great passer. Hell, I mean, he wasn't even a bad offensive rebounder. So at the end of the day, yeah, he has a case for best offensive player, but that's not a definitive that's not a conventional pick. That's not a uniform pick. A lot of people would say maybe the best offensive player ever is Wilt Chamberlain. Then there's some people that would say it's Kobe Bryant. Some people may say, hey, it's Michael Jordan. So why is he saying Larry Bird, other than the fact that he may be really saying, let's just be honest here, he could be saying that Nikola Jokic is going to surpass Larry Bird as the best offensive white player. Maybe that's what he's saying. But so that I dispute immediately. Another thing that I saw that he wrote is that if Jokic wins 2 championships, he passes Larry Bird as a player overall, right? But wouldn't he still be behind Larry Bird as far as championships? 3-2. MVPs, 3-2. So how does he just magically surpass Larry Bird? And another point I want to make too is, if George Karl is saying that if he wins these amount of championships, he passes Bird and all that, right? So doesn't that lead credence to the argument that a lot of us are making that had Jokic won a 3rd MVP this year, instead of coming in 2nd, let's say he had won the 3rd, but they failed to make it to the finals again. So wouldn't that be taken away from Jokic being in a conversation with Larry Bird and them if he never won a championship, let alone appear in the finals? You see how much better our argument sounds now? Let's just imagine if Jokic lost to, say, the Lakers, and the Nuggets lost to the Lakers again, and they didn't make it to the finals, but they gave Jokic the MVP. What would the talk be in the NBA right now, in NBA circles? What would the talk be right now if Jokic won a 3rd MVP, but failed to make it to the finals again? And now you understand why I said that winning a 3rd MVP, but not winning a championship, would put him in the Steve Nash category. Not to mention the fact that there's something off with the media, the media voting for him for MVP, year in and year out, but not giving him any expectations as far as winning a championship. I don't want to go too far into that, but it's irritating to me that the media, it seems like they don't have any expectations for him. Like, putting up numbers is good enough, but other guys, they have to actually win championships. And that's more of an indictment on the media than Nikola Jokic. But anyway, getting back to this thing about Jokic being the most skilled offensive player, I mean, it doesn't annoy me. I mean, I could see him being in that conversation as his career goes on. I mean, his career numbers are close to Larry Bird. 20 points a game, 10 rebounds, 6.5 assists. He almost averaged a triple-double this year. Came very close, with 1/10 of an assist away from a triple-double. For his career, he's a 55% field goal shooter. For his career, he's a 35% three-point shooter. For his career, he's an 83% free throw shooter, so he's a exceptionally efficient scorer. He's a pretty good three-point shooter. This year, he's got it better. He's a really good foul shooter, 83% for his career. He has the second highest PER rating of all time, behind only Michael Jordan. Last I checked, it was 27.65. Jordan, 27.91, even higher than LeBron James. So that definitely puts him in the elite category. Although I will say that if Wilt Chamberlain's blocks and steals and turnovers were counted for his entire career, he would probably have a PER rating well over 30 and be number one all time. And that would add to the GOAT argument. But, because certain stats were conveniently not counted when he played, it's harder to make those arguments. And you have to ask yourself, why exactly did the NBA wait until Wilt Chamberlain retired to start counting blocks? The year after he retired. Interesting. But anyway, do you think that Nikola Jokic has already passed Larry Bird as the best offensive player of all time? Or do you think that this is just George Karl talking some BS? You know what I mean? I definitely get the impression, George Karl is not a Boston Celtic fan. And I get the impression that George Karl is not crazy about Larry Bird from over the years. So I take what George Karl says sometimes with a grain of salt, because George Karl is the type of dude that can hold grudges. I don't know. I just don't think Jokic has done enough yet, man. If you give him a championship, if they win a championship, then I'll start looking at Jokic as maybe somewhere in that, with the 2 MVPs. Then I'll start looking at him as somewhere, I don't know, top 35-ish. Because remember, Nash has 2 MVPs and he's like top 45. So I would put Jokic, I don't know, top 35-ish maybe. And then from there on out, I would probably have him go up a little bit each year, because longevity means something to me. That's just me. But anyway, tell me what you guys think.